Hey everyone, I'm Katie Daryl and he is Jeff Wolinski. Welcome, my friend. How are you?
Welcome. I am good. How are you?
I'm I'm so good. Never did you ever probably think that the phrase cancer can rock would be like make sense, but it does to you now, right?
Yes, it does, and it does, and it does. I've seen a couple of my friends have actually done Cancer Can Rock videos, and Cajun Kelley and BJ Kerwin, and actually some of the other last year members that were in my video have actually done other work with other people's songs or had songs themselves. So BJ Kerwin from the last year, who now is in Candlebox, told me about Jim Ebert and set me up with Jim, and that's how I got involved.
Jim is our fearless leader. He gets in there, rolls up his sleeves. He's the producer in the studios, working with our artists. Our artists are just like you, Jeff. They are musicians that are battling a good fight with cancer and just kind of need a day away from the cancer treatments and just to get into the
Yes,
studio to make music. And Cancer Can Rock helps put this all together. I want to
absolutely.
get into your day, right? Your day of
Yeah,
music. A lot of
it'd be
people, if
great.
they don't know you, and if they're just getting to know you right now, they'll be like, "Oh, is this guy gonna do some folk music? Maybe something mellow?" No way, man! You rock!
No,
Like
yeah.
you're a rock star on that bass.
I knew, like, I've seen other ones, and a lot of them are kind of, they're great songs. A lot of them are more strummy acoustic kind of songs, but I like power metal, and I wanted something epic and, grr, and that's what we did. So I wrote the song in my head over, a number of months, and then we actually had to reschedule a couple times. I had complications with the cancer, and we had to reschedule a few times, and we finally got it in, and I think the final product was really good. Enjoyed it.
So you wrote this song specifically knowing that you were going into the studio for Cancer Can Rock. This wasn't one that
Yes.
you just kind of had in your journals, correct?
Yeah, and I'm actually not much of a songwriter, actually. I've played with some really good songwriters. I've played in a lot of bands, very well established in the Baltimore music scene, um, but I've never been like really a songwriter myself. And when this came up, I'm like, you know what? I can write. I'm a writer. I like to write. I've been sharing my whole story on Facebook, my whole cancer battle, just the facts of it, and also wanting to educate people about colonoscopies and get a colon. I had colon cancer, stage 4 into my liver, and I put off getting a colonoscopy. Not really any negligence. I just kept thinking, well, I've been healthy all my life and strong, and I'll get around to it. And then I ended up. People said, "What finally sent you to the hospital?" I said, "A literal pain in the butt. I had this horrible pain. I went to the hospital, and they did scan that night and told me I have a mass in my colon and 3 spots in my liver. And I thought I had a death sentence. And I've beat it all, although there's 1 spot back on my liver, and I'm back in treatment for that. But I think when we get that done, I'm going to be through with it.
Wow.
So
So you'll get to say cancer free. Are you excited to get to say
yeah.
that?
Oh my God, yeah. Even the doctor's gonna. I have a small spot in my liver. I just had my 3rd round of chemo today. I have one more round of chemo to do, and then they're going to do an ablation instead of opening me up. They're going to put a probe in, basically a little microwave on the end, and it will roast that spot out of my liver without having to open me up. So that'll be the end of January, and basically that doctor said you should be NED at that stage, and NED means no evidence of disease. That's the part where anybody with cancer wants to get the NED. And I went from thinking I was dead. I have a really good friend of mine and great drummer named Paul Spees, who I was in a band with. Andy Shriver, you probably know Andy Shriver, who did a Cancer Can Rock song a couple months ago. Is a friend of mine from 40 years, and he had stage 2 or 3 cancer. But he and I played in a band called AR-15. It was a big local new wave band called AR-15. We were in a second version of that together. Paul was the drummer in that band. Great, brilliant drummer. I called him the GQ drummer, the best looking dude ever. Incredible drummer, really great showman, in shape. And he had issues. He went to the doctor. He was 49, wife, beautiful wife, Sue, and 4 kids. Great dad, great guy. And he was dead within a year. This was 15 years ago. And when
Wow.
I heard what I had, I immediately thought, oh my God, Paul Spees, how long do I have left? And my doctor said, look, 15 years ago was a lifetime ago in treatment. We've come a long way, and you can beat this. And I pretty much have.
And you're beating it. And you found friends along the way, these new friends from Cancer Can Rock, which is such a
Absolutely.
spectacular organization.
Tim is
Tell
great.
me through your day. So you show up and you're the rock star, you're the main event.
So yeah, the whole thing of the song. So the last year is a local Baltimore band, little original band. They're my favorite local original band. Phenomenal songs. They should be huge, but you know how it is. They had one song that got a lot of airplay, but they're all good friends of mine. I go see them all the time. And BJ is in that band as well as Candlebox. And when BJ asked me about this, he said, "Well, by the way, I got to play drums on it." I said, "Okay." Well, so how about the whole band? And he's like, "Let me check with him." Half hour, he goes, "Everybody's in." So Scott Ensign plays keyboards. He plays bass and keyboards in that band, but I'm a bass player. I said, "Well, Scott, I got to play bass. I'll
Yeah,
play some
man.
keyboards." And Niki Barr is the singer, who's phenomenal. She has the star power, and wanted her to sing and wanted me to sing. So the premise of the song is that she's my cancer and I'm me. And it's a back and forth battle. And Scott Griffith is a guitar player in that band. He does some guitar work. Local guitar player named Kajun Kelley is just the best guitar player in Maryland, in my opinion, a lot of people's opinion. Phenomenal player, really good friend of mine, and has a lot of self-produced songs that he does in his basement studio. And this is going to be a more complex song. So Cajun and I got together and did a whole demo of the tape, and kind of then sent it to the other musicians so that everybody could hear it ahead of time. And then we got together in the studio and recorded all of our parts. And it turned out pretty good.
Well, I love the song. And, listen, it is heavy. It is hard. I was not expecting it when I hit play and watched the music video. But I want to talk about the vocals in particular, right? Because, this male, female, this kind of call. It's not even a call and answer. It's like a call and chase. It's haunting. Kind
Yeah,
of walk
yeah.
the process when you first kind of heard this in your head and said, yeah, this is the song.
So this is based on one of my favorite bands of all time is a band called Nightwish. They're a Finnish symphonic metal band. I just came across them randomly on YouTube. I love this band. All Finnish. They've had 3 singers. They're on the current singer's Flor Jansen, who was the best female singer alive, in my opinion. And they do really epic songs. Marko Heitala was the bass player. He quit a couple years ago. He was in a Finnish metal band called Taro, like the first big Finnish metal band. Marko was an amazing singer. And they had a lot of songs that were back and forth battles like this, where Marco would sing, Flor would sing, they'd sing back and forth at each other. And it's like, oh my God, Niki's involved. I want to do a Marco and Flor back and forth. And that's what kind of started my process working in the songwriting process. And I came up with me a verse, Niki a verse, and then 2 lines and 2 lines, and then her a line, me a line, her a line. So just kind of that battle.
Yeah.
And she was going to be my cancer, actually. And I saw the last year at a show, a couple months before we did the studio video, and I was like, "Niki, good to see you're my cancer." She goes, "No, I'm your tumor." And I was like, "Oh my God." So that's Get Out of Me is the name of the song, but in parentheses, I put me versus tumor is
Oh
like
my.
the subtitle of the band. So that's the battle.
You said that you wrote this song specifically for the Cancer Can Rock session.
Yes.
Did you take a moment? Did you go to a cabin alone for 3
No,
days and write away, or what?
no.
What did you do?
Well, a lot of it was written in the hospital. I spent over the last year and a half. I've spent probably 4 months in the hospital. Healthy all my life. I had uh, liver surgery with major complications, septic infection. Then they found I had a perforated duodenal ulcer. Then they found I had an hepatic artery aneurysm that was ready to explode, where they put a hepatic artery infusion pump in, where the catheter went into my hepatic artery. It started to kick out and form an aneurysm that I was in Maryland shock trauma, a surgical intensive care unit. And the doctor said, if that blew at home, you would be dead. If that thing blew even in here in the best trauma center in the world, we would have a hard time saving you. So all
Wow.
these crazy complications. Then I had my colon surgery and I had another septic infection. I had 2 major septic infections. I had 2 bleed outs, one from the lower end, one
Jeez,
from,
Jeff, you are not an easy
oh,
patient.
no, no. And after being healthy all my life, I got 3 lifetimes of troubles in a year and a half. 2 ambulance rides out of here. I threw up a gallon of bright red blood after the surgery. A bleeder popped and where the ulcer repair was, and my blood pressure was 60 over 30 on both of those when the ambo got here. I just about died on my floor. I had to crawl 20 feet back to my phone where I had left it, and went to stand up and collapse because my veins were collapsing. I had bled out through all filled up my intestines. As it filled up into my stomach, I got nauseous and threw up bright red blood everywhere. Uh,
Wow.
crazy stuff that happened. Luckily, the final surgery, I had an ostomy for 8 months, the reversal, and in the middle of all that, they cut me from belly button to sternum 4 times. Each surgery and then each septic infection, they had to cut me open and suck out all the infection from my inside of my gut. And then in the midst of that, the middle band of my abs split open, and I had a 6-inch by 3-inch by 2-inch bulge in the middle of my belly. They had to fix that. But luckily, that was complication free, the last surgery. So it's been quite a journey. And all I could say to people is get your freaking colonoscopies. I put it off. I've had at least 24 people tell me that they have gotten colonoscopies because of me. No one's found any crazy, but a couple people had precancerous polyps. And I've been on a mission to educate people and to say, do it. It's not that bad. People, oh, the prep is so horrible. It's not that bad. It really isn't.
Prep's uncomfortable. That nap is the best nap of my life. I got to tell you, right? When you go to sleep for like
out.
5 minutes, I woke up and I was like, that was the best sleep I've had in years.
It was great. And I actually said that, like, one of them, I woke up and I said, when are you guys getting started? They're like, we're done. I'm like, well, geez. I kind of zoned out and I woke up and, you know, I think it's Versed, and it has like an amnesia effect as well. It makes you kind of not think about it. So then the song, like I said, I love
talking about colonoscopies. I want to talk about your music because
I know, but I want to get that message out there because it's important for everybody.
Of course. We know, you know, hearing your story and your battle with cancer is inspiring, but I want to know about your music and your love for music and the passion and what drew you towards music first in life, like young Jeff. What was Jeff's first rock and roll experience or memory?
My mother had the best musical taste of ever. My mother's side, my dad's side, not really much musical. My Uncle Jim was a drummer. My mother's side, my grandfather played banjo and mandolin in a ragtime band. My grandmother played piano and sang. Her and her sisters had a singing group. My uncle, my mother's younger brother, Gary Peters, my first big influence, gave me my first bass at 15. I would go he lived in the basement of our grandparents when I was younger, and I'd go over there and always go down and open the bass and check it out. And 15 birth year, my first 15th birthday, my uncle gave me a little bass and I started playing, and he showed me the basics. And then I had my little record player, little lamp in my room. I would go down to my mother's record collection, 300 albums or something. Chicago, Old Doobie Brothers, Earth, Wind and Fire, George Benson, Loggins and Messina, loved that stuff. And I would just get an album and take them upstairs and learn. And that really got me going. And by the time I was 17, I was out playing, making money. And I put myself through college. I got a BS in biology, a master's in environmental planning. I do ecological restoration work and ecological assessment work for a living. And so I have two main passions in my life. It's ecology and nature and music. Pretty much two sides of my life. And I've just been growing ever since as a musician. And I play bass mainly. I play mandolin. I play guitar, little keyboards. And the whole writing process was really I've written, remember when I was like in my teens, I wrote some strummy guitar songs, but this one, I thought about it a lot. I had several iterations and several riffs, and Kajun, Kelley, was a big help when I went to his house for the demo, for instance. He goes, what's the main riff? It's like, I got 4 or 5 of them. I don't know what to use. He was playing for me. And he was a really good pre-producer. He's like, that number 2 is the one. And I'm like, okay, I trust you. And he's a brilliant, brilliant musician. And so it was the different iterations. And then talking to Jim, when Jim heard, he's like, that end part, I really like. I think you should bring that in sooner. So Jim helped us massage it into a better form. And then we shot it, recorded it and then shot the video. It was a great day. Really good day. Really meant a lot to me. One of the best days of my life.
I want to know more about that day and the feeling. That's what I want to hear. Like one of the best days of your life, to have struggled and gone through everything you've battled with cancer and your health, especially that you mentioned before. So to have this day that just stood out as one of your best days, like I'm so proud to be part of this organization, to be able to know that like a smile like giving there, it's priceless. Tell me the goosebump feelings, being in the studio, escapism, all of that.
Well, the first part was frustrating as hell. I live north of Baltimore in Towson, and this Jim studio is in Falls Church, Virginia, which is, over the Potomac River. and the traffic, 495 traffic, it took me 2 hours to get there, which would normally take me an hour. The traffic was horrendous. There was an accident, back up. So I was stressed out. Called Jim. I'm on my way, but I'm like in a 5 mile backup, stop and go. So it's stressful getting there once I got there, but everyone else beat me but me. It's like, God, I'm the guy and I'm not even there yet because everybody else had gotten
Oh my God, Jeff,
through.
it was a rock star entrance.
Yeah, fashionably late. Yes.
Typical lead singer.
Yeah, but luckily everybody had time to get the drums dialed in and all that. And then we were there probably at least probably 6 hours. Everybody knew their parts from the demo, but we changed things up a little bit. And for instance, Kajun had programmed in a drum machine. BJ is a killer drummer and powerful. And I knew he would beef it up, and it did. Yeah. And, so that whole iteration, the studio time and listening back, and it was just, I've recorded bass parts with other people in other studios, but this time I was the main guy. And it was great. It was a great, great day. It really was. It was special. And I love all those people involved. Jim, now I love. Jim's a friend of mine. We talked about cancer and his cancer battle. And he's a survivor, Jim. I mean, what a story he has. So I've met Jim Buckley. If you remember, Jim Buckley did a song. Yep. He's had 5 types of cancer, I think. I met him through this, and we'd become friends. So there's like a whole little cancer community now of musicians that we have together, and we support each other. It's great. It was a great day. Great day.
If someone were to ask you, Jeff, what does Cancer Can Rock mean to you? What would you say?
A lot. It was cathartic. It was a summary. The song progresses from me finding out to me in the battle, and then kind of at the end, I'm like, I think I can beat you, but then Niki comes back, maybe not. And it's soon enough, I find out that I had one spot back in my liver. So, I mean, really that ending, it's almost like I feel like I jinxed myself. Of course, I don't really believe that, but it's like I wrote that in there. I know you never know when I might turn back on, Vicky says. I might switch back on is the word actually. And so, when you get to stage 4, there's cells through your body and it may pop up. So unfortunately that came true. And then get out of me, go is kind of the tagline at the end. And there's a little Blondie snippet in there, Niki going, I'll get you. I said, I just heard that in my head. I'll get you like one way or another. And so we kind of progressed it at the end where I sing my part.
Get ya.
And she does it twice, then she 3, then 4, then 5, then 6, and then boom, we ended with Niki doing a death wail. And then I say, get the F out of me. I am an F-bomb. Me and Kajun are both big F-bomb fans. We said, we got to make a PG version for Cancer Can Rock. So there's me big beep there. But I want the unedited version since I'm an F-bomb fan. But it's a fun song, I think, and it really turned out well. I'm proud of it, and I'm so thankful for the people that were involved. And it really was a great day. And like Rick Marcinek, Jim Buckley, Andy Shriver, 3 people right there that I know well that have done these, and all of us have talked about it. Like it really was a great experience. I'm so thankful for Cancer Can Rock, and I have actually recommended several other guys that I know, musicians who have cancer, and they're getting in the line in the queue now to do one as well with Jim.
I appreciate you sharing your story, your battle, your journey with us, and most importantly, your music, the world premiere of your music video. Congratulations, dude. Thanks for hanging out with Cancer Can Rock.